Hi, my name is Ray Pastor, and today I'm going to talk about why there are so many names for our field, which I call instructional design. Um, so first of all, we have all these different names. You can see on the screen here, I have instructional design, educational technology, instructional systems, learning sciences, learning design, e-learning design, curriculum design, and honestly, the list goes on and on. I can pull up all the names of all the programs in my field that I consider programs in my field, and they might each have slightly different names. So what are some of the reasons for this? Well, there are a number of reasons for it. The first reason could be that all the fields, all the names mean the same thing, and as a field, we haven't been able to come together and actually agree on one term. That could be one of the biggest reasons. That's probably the most, you know, obvious reason, and probably the one that is the case in a lot of, settings. However, there are some variations that, and now I can tell you different definitions based on each one of these terms here, and someone can tell you their version of the definitions as well. But if we look at this, one of the reasons is that in our field, we have students that go into corporate, we have students that go into education. So right there, those two categories can decide what someone calls themselves. If you have a program that focuses specifically on just education, they might call themselves educational technology, even though they might learn basically the same thing as an instructional design or instructional and as any of these other programs. But if they focus specifically on education, they may call themselves educational technology. The problem with saying that an educational technology program is going to focus on education is that that may not be the case. Someone may have picked the name educational technology and they may focus mostly on corporate. You don't really know. But that's one reason that there could be the separation. Another, what does the program focus on? Do they focus on design? Are they looking at the design of instruction? Are they looking at, is it a research-based program? Are they looking at design-based research or how people learn? Is that the main focus of their program? Or are they a development program? Are they focusing on just development, getting out students that can develop multimedia and use the tools a lot? So that can have an impact on what a program calls themselves. However, again, the same problem that we run into in this corporate versus educational is that you can have a program called e-learning design, which you probably might think is a design or maybe just development program, but they could be doing all research. You really have no idea what the program's about until you read the description and look at their courses and see who their faculty are. So we have a bunch of different names in our field, and they all are essentially mean the same thing, and they all mean something different. There's no right answer here. The way to figure out what a program focuses on is to look at what they're doing. More than likely, most programs in our field focus on both of these, and they focus on all three of these, which makes it even harder because they all do a little bit of each. And you really, you can't say educational technology is all technology, all K to 12 or higher ed because it may not be. So it makes it difficult. So what is the proper name for our field? There isn't one. We can't agree on one. Me personally, what's my opinion of it? I believe we should be instructional design, instructional technology, or educational technology. We should pick one of these, but we keep changing it because, we change little focuses. Like one program is like, well, we're moving more towards research or we're moving more towards development. So maybe we should change our name to XYZ to sound a little more like that. When in the end, we're still the same thing because there are other programs doing that are focused more on research or are focused more on development that are just called instructional design programs. So thank you.